For almost 150 years, a combustion engine has powered the cars we drive, allowing people to live, work and play in ways that were unimaginable in the past. But as our world transitions from fossil fuels to renewable energy, the auto industry has been forced to adapt. On this episode of Leaders with Lacqua Goes Green, I meet the man in charge of one of the world's most iconic companies, Ferrari. Benedetto Vigna is overseeing a new era as a car maker famous for its roaring engine switches to electric. In a wide-ranging interview, he talks about the road ahead and his own personal journey from semiconductors to sports cars. And he tells me what sets Ferrari apart from the rest. Thank you so much for joining us on Leaders with Lacqua. What was your first car?
My first car in my life?
Yes.
At that time was a Fiat. Now I have a Ferrari.
And now, so you've traded up. Did you think at the time, actually, I want to work for Ferrari? I want to work for maybe the most iconic Italian brand?
I always dreamt about that. If someone was telling me it's going to be there, you know, it's a dream that becomes a reality.
So when you joined Ferrari, what was your biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise I remember, it was 2 years ago. It looked like I've always been in this company. For me, it looked like I was at home. I remember I gave a phone call to my wife and I said, it seems that I've always been working here.
Why? The energy, the people, what you're selling?
I think was the energy, the passion, the people, the setting. So there were mostly about the people, yes. The people, and also because you see, it happens to see, Ferrari. But I think also the spirit of the place.
Which is what?
It's about innovation, it's about continuous striving for excellence. It's about always looking at the future with trying to do always better and better. So for me, it was like I was always there.
But what do you sell? Do you sell dreams? Do you sell technology? Do you sell speed?
No. What we sell, it's really emotion to our client. We sell, when a Ferrarista, when a client buys Ferrari, he buys something that he likes to have fun. He likes to have to live an emotion. Okay. He does not buy a car to go to the shopping, or he buys something that let her feel much better. It's a kind of, you become part of, you become altogether one thing with the car.
How has the clients changed, actually, over the years? Are there more females than in the past?
We see two trends. Number one, the new clients are younger. And number two, we see more and more female. And this is true a little bit everywhere. For sure in Asia we have more female than in the Western world, but we see more and more female getting in our space, but we see also a high percentage of new clients that are very young. 40% of our new clients are younger than 40 years old.
And once they own a Ferrari, do they own 1, 2, 3 Ferraris?
The one that we call the top in VIP, the collectors, they own more Ferrari. But you start usually with one Ferrari and then they get buying more and more. They get one client that told me, Ferrari, I like peanuts. More you take, more you like.
How important is the color?
For sure, when you talk about personalization of Ferrari, the color has a special meaning.
What do you think makes your success as a leader?
I think there are two dimensions that are always important to consider when you lead a team. I think there are one, I like to say confident humility, and the second is will to progress. The confident humility is important because you have to pay attention not to make the mistake that since you are in a high hierarchical position, you may think that you know everything, and instead you have always to keep open eyes and open ears to what other people are saying, inside the company and outside. And will to progress because we have always to have this kind of attention toward the future, usually the best the past, but also find the right compromise between what you verified to be true in the past and what you believe is going to be true in the future. There is this continuous equilibrium, let me say. that you have to balance.
Is there a danger that once you become a chief executive, you lose that connection with clients, and so you, I guess, misinterpret what they want or what you need to sell?
This is one risk. There is also the risk not to listen to supplier. There is also the risk not to listen to employee. There is, let's say, the risk that you start to forget that you have 2 years and 1 month. 2 years and 2 eyes. So you should get 4 times more input than what you say.
So how do you avoid becoming complacent?
We are here because of the work of many people. The people that are in the company now, the people that were in the company in the past, all the stakeholders. But we have always to keep alive this will to progress. And there is one sentence of our founder that I like a lot. It's the one I like most. And he said, to those who come after me, I leave a simple inheritance. To keep alive the will to progress pursued in the past. And for me, this tells a lot about who we are and what you have to be a good leader.
And so the biggest challenge now is becoming more green.
Definitely. The sustainability for us is important. Becoming greener and greener is important, especially for a luxury company, because a luxury company makes emotional product, symbolic product, not functional product. So becoming green is important for the social license. And we are highly committed over there. We want to become carbon neutral by 2030.
It's tough. I mean, how difficult is it? Do you remember the first time where you actually announced to your engineers that you wanted to become green? Because it's also about the sound. The Ferrari's the speed, the sound, the combustion engine. You're saying, look, we're not starting from scratch, but almost.
It's important to look at the future with realism, but also with energy. Because I think that when you work, when you listen around you, then ideas come and you can make something unique.
I'm excited for you because you've tried the prototype.
Yeah.
Right? Do you like it?
I like a lot. And I'm happy because you cannot see what I'm seeing in my memory, yes.
Yeah, because it's like you'd have to kill me afterwards. How secret? So how many prototypes are there before you actually go to market?
Look, we have very detailed development process. So we have what we call technically mulotype, prototype, before we end up with the production of the final product. So it's very much detailed. It takes several quarters, and we test the car in different conditions. But it's very, very interesting.
What are you most excited about? Is it the sound?
The driving emotion, okay? The driving emotion, the performance, and also the design. They go all together. It's like 3 wheels, these 3 wheels, falling and moving at the right speed, all together. And then these 3 is all encompassed by the sustainability. I believe in it.
What was harder for you, to get the company to follow that dream, or do you think it's actually getting customers to buy an electric Ferrari?
But look, we'll see in a couple of years. There is a strong enthusiasm, a lot of energy. Engineers and in the factory, in technology, on R&D, they are all committed to make something unique.
Can you give us a flavor or of how, whether it's the battery changes, like, can you give us any indication of how different?
I can tell you this, it's going to be unique. It's going to be a true Ferrari.
When you look at margins, and actually if you look at the really high-end luxury, especially supercars, it seems that the sky's the limit in terms of pricing. Do you feel that's true?
The sky is the limit for innovation, for sure. The sky is not the limit, I think, for pricing, because you have always to think there is a client that to get those money, you had to work a lot. So you have to balance the right way. You have to avoid to look like greedy. And you have to deliver something that is always in line with the emotion you are able to deliver. I think this is fundamental. Otherwise, it becomes too much transactional, and clients are stakeholder of our family. And we have to make sure that they feel part of this family.
Coming up, Benedetto Vigna on why Ferrari has no plans to ramp up production, despite red-hot demand for its newest models. Ferrari sells speed and extravagance to the world's wealthiest. It's an exclusive space, yet there's no shortage of customers. Demand for its first-ever SUV and other models has been overwhelming. But despite this runaway success, the carmaker is not tempted to crank up production. I continue the conversation with the chief executive, Benedetto Vigna. How are orders going?
The Purosangue has been, the reception, the acceptance of Purosangue has been extraordinarily high. We had to stop the order for a while because we had to understand how to manage the supply chain. So there is a strong traction of Purosangue all over the world.
Were you surprised by that? When you look at that, I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yes, I said it. We were surprised because we were not expecting to get all these orders in so short time. But we were, let's say, positively surprised. The car is really beautiful. When you try it, it's really, you should come and try it in Maranello.
I will. Watch out, everyone else. I'm not the world's best driver.
We are not far away.
How difficult is it to, when you land a product, to understand then who's going to buy it, whose imagination it captures? Like, it's you don't have spreadsheets for this, right?
No.
Or you don't have algorithms.
No. To be a leader, it means also that you have to understand, interpret what are the desires, unexpressed desire of a client, and you have to address before he's able to formalize. Yeah. You have to do something that is keeps them, leave them a surprise. So we have people in our company that know what does it mean to drive, and the emotion when you drive the car. We have people in our company that are able to take all the Formula One technology innovation and bring to the car, to the sport car. Mm-hmm. So I think we have all the set of experience in the company, and we can leverage also in the right way what our clients are telling us to make something unique.
How secret? I mean, are we talking like military-grade bases where you hide them?
We are hiding it pretty much. Yeah. We are, let's say, this is very important. Confidentiality is very important. This is part of the experience. You don't want anyone, let me say, to see the cars ahead of time. It's not so easy because the car is big. Usually, it's not like a smaller
you can't
object.
Put it in your pocket.
You cannot put it. Yes, exactly.
How much do you drive it?
I like to drive with on the track with some colleagues that are. I like to spend time because also they are teaching me to understand more and more what does it mean a Ferrari. In the last 2 years, I get to know more and more the Ferrari. There is this dimension of family in Ferrari that is pretty unique, and you learn a lot. It's coming back to the dimension of learning from everyone. This is very, 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 very important.
Do younger clients or do females actually look for different things in the cars?
If you want, there is only one common trait. The people want to have fun when they drive Ferrari. That is common across all the places, all the people I met.
Benedetto, who do you see as your biggest rivals, actually, right now?
But look, the rivals can be a little bit everywhere. Based on my experience, also on the previous business life, you have always to pay attention to companies that are nimble and agile, because they can surprise the market.
So really, you have to be paranoid to be a good chief executive.
I think you have to be paranoid always for what you do, because when you are, on the leading edge and you want to stay there, you're always to look with a lot of attention to what's happening. It comes always to the same story. Listen what is happening around you.
But for supercars, is it really possible to have a rival that start from scratch, that's almost started by a software company?
It's not so easy like in high tech, because in high tech usually the heritage is not so important. When you talk about luxury company, there is a heritage dimension that is very important, but this is the past. Let's look at the future. So for me, the lesson is always pay attention to possible competitors that are small, agile, and nimble, because these can make a difference. So always open ears.
How much do you worry about increasing production and therefore becoming, I guess, less high-end luxury?
We are making 13,000, 14,000 cars per year. We will not grow a lot in the future because we want to grow more for value, not for volume. And maybe one number. You know how many cars Ferrari did we put on the road since the beginning, since the first one? 250, 260,000. So 250,000 cars in a market where there are million and million cars every year.
And there's a film coming out.
Yeah, the film, I saw it.
It's good.
I think it is giving a good another view about 1 year that is very important for the year of for the life of our founders, 1957. I saw it, and for me it was very useful. I think this is enriching, if you want, our history, because there are many ways you can know the history of the Ferrari: by reading books, by watching movies, and also by talking to people.
Talk to me a little bit about batteries. I mean, this is the next frontier, the frontier, right, for anyone in cars. How much of the new Ferrari will you do in-house, and how much do you have to rely on companies outside?
Look, I think innovation can be done in two ways. One is innovation in-house, and one is innovation with a strategic supplier. We selected what we want to make in-house. We want to make in-house the battery, we want to make in-house the engine, the electronics, and then the assembly of the car, for example, in this respect of electrification. Then we will use the cell coming from outside, and we selected some strategic supplier for this.
How do you choose them?
We choose based on two criteria: the competence and the time and the speed. The competence and the time to make something new. This is very important.
Are some places actually surprising where you have a lot more demand?
There are some countries that are growing because we are a luxury company. Korea is one of these. Yeah. Taiwan is like another one. So I think the traction of the brand is pretty good across all the states.
Coming up, Benedetto Vigna on why driving will not go out of fashion in the age of automation. Benedetto Vigna came to Ferrari from the world of microchips. The tech pioneer, who was brought in to navigate the carmaker's electric future, has sounded a warning on artificial intelligence. I continue the conversation. What does your typical day look like? So what time do you wake up?
I wake up at 6:30, and then I go to work. I go to work and I stay there. I mean, till the evening. When I am there, when I'm on vacation, I don't work.
Good. That's good to know. But do you read? How do you keep up to date?
I like to read a lot. I like to read a lot because the books are a summary of the experience of people. So I like, in our company, we exchange books. So we read books of different times, different kinds.
Can you give us the best book that you've read that maybe you identified with? Or
I like to read books written by Nobel Prize, not in technical topics, because so one of the books I like a lot.
So not the physics Nobel
this
Prize.
Is enough, you know. But now I'm looking at reading some other books more about the design, and also about other people that left a mark in the history. This is very interesting. There is also another interesting book that I got as a gift, Why We Drive.
About what? About cars?
But, you know, about the importance for people to drive the car and not to be in cars that are autonomous.
So my kids that are, around 10 may not ever know how to drive. Is that a problem for Ferrari?
I think that there will be people that they may not know how to drive, and there will be people that will have the pleasure to learn to drive and to drive. I don't think that the youngster will not take care anymore about driving. There are some skills also that you can develop when you are driving, and also, we are in a world where everything is done sometimes too much by the computer. No, we have many things we are asking. We do not remember anymore phone numbers. In the past, we had to remember. When we make a research, it's very easy on internet. You find a lot of things, but we have always to remember that we are human beings, and we have always to keep alive, the critical thinking, because at the end of the story, this is at the base of our free will. We have to pay attention that the new technology, AI, whatever, it's always a tool that must be used by a man. It must not be the other way around. AI using the man, is man using AI, and we have to pay attention.
Benedetto, what does a good Vigna day look like?
When you see the progress getting out, when you see that the teams are engaged and they're doing something new and they love it, and they are satisfied, that is a good Vigna day, business-wise, okay? There are other good days when I spend time with my wife and my daughter.
Fair. But you also believe in smaller teams, right? In having smaller teams because people feel empowered and so you feel part of something.
Yeah, I believe that when you want to do something new, the smaller team have one gear more. When the teams are too big, the people that are part of this team may not feel so important as a contributor.
But why? I mean, because
because you don't feel like because there is a big difference. In a big team, you feel you are like a number. In a small team, you are a person that is contributing one way or another, and also the speed of learning, the speed of understanding from mistake is much faster.
If it was a much bigger company, is it more difficult to manage more?
Look, we have a big advantage as Ferrari because we are 5,000-6,000 people. We are more of us. A lot of people are in the same location. When you have people spread all over the space, it's not easy.
What does a bad Vigna day look like?
A bad Vigna day is a day where you are not learning anything. It's like a static day. There are some days where you cannot, you would like to do more, you would like to understand more, and instead you are there. It's not when you do mistake. When you, if you want, you don't see that kind of change of gear in your thinking process, in the team.
And so how do you pick it up? Again, I mean, we have a lot
first of all, you have to accept that not all the days can be good.
No.
Because also these days that are not good leave you something, you know, for the good day. I think these moments are important also for the brain, at least for me, where you realize that it's not so easy. There is some difficulty. And you come back to the basic, let's say.
Benedetto, is there a client that you don't have that you would really want to have?
There are several, but I don't want to mention because there are several.
They may be watching.
Yes, there are several. I was happy because I had one in mind that, let's say, is going to take our Purosangue in end of 24. But I cannot say which one.
No, you don't have to say, but this is like a personal satisfaction.
Because it's like setting a target and try to achieve it. It's a will to progress. You know? Let's see if I'm able. So I had a few friends of mine that some friends of mine that when my name was announced in June 21 that I was becoming the CEO of Ferrari, I got some congratulations, and then I said, let me see if I'm able to bring those friends in the Ferrari world. Well, that was I succeeded with some of them, not all of them, but I succeeded with some of them.
I love that. How did you celebrate? Who was the first person you called when you got the job?
The first clearly was my wife and my daughter were there. And then, you know, I called, I did not say Ferrari because I could not yet disclose, but I called my previous boss, Bruno. He taught me many things. So I called him, and it was an interesting phone call because at the beginning he was not so happy that I was leaving the company I was working for, but then he understood Ferrari. You know, Ferrari you cannot say differently.
What's the most important thing he taught you?
He taught me something that is always remember. Time to market is important, but marketing time is much more important. So you have to listen to what the weak signal of the client, but then you have to interpret it. And how to interpret it? With a network of people that are, let's say, that are different. So very often we say out of the box. I like to say more out of the network, to talk with other interpreters in a way that you can make something unique.
It's brilliant. Benedetto, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.